Hello, how are you? I am a little tired, but not for any good reason. I think probably just because it's the middle of winter now. I got a news alert warning me that there is a 3,000-kilometer wide Arctic storm front moving across Canada and creating a polar vortex for us tonight. And some idiot booked lift tickets to go skiing tomorrow. So I think I might just be tired thinking about it. Anyway. Let me find where we left off last week. So you may recall The Sharing, which is a Christian youth group styled front for the Yerk invasion. It's a fun seeming way that they indoctrinate kids into getting on board with, the Yerk invasion and recruiting voluntary hosts. And we know that Jake's older brother Tom is one of the leaders of the sharing and has become heavily involved in the leadership of the organization. And Jake has caught him making some calls to a nearby hospital. So they believe that part of the Yerk invasion plan is probably to infiltrate a hospital, get most of the surgeons on board so that patients check into the hospital for, whatever minor surgical procedures and check out as controllers. And that is what we're investigating in book 6. So the Animorphs have been practicing their cockroach morph so that they can sneak into a meeting of the sharing leadership and spy on them. Chapter 7. How long do you think this will take? Rachel asked. She checked her watch. I set the VCR for 2 of my favorite shows, but I forgot to tape the movie of the week. I'm taping it in case you miss it, Cassie said. It was dark out, but not very late. The moon was up, but hidden by clouds. We were walking along the street, doing our best to look like a normal bunch of kids, just hanging out. Normal. This sucks, Tobias said from high above. I'm half blind at night, especially without moonlight. I should have gotten myself stuck in an owl body. Owls are so cool, aside from the fact that some of them try to kill and eat falcons. How can you ever run in these bodies? Axe wondered. 2 legs. It is absurd. Absurd. Not even a tail to help you stay up. Axe was in his human morph. It's a combination of DNA from me, Marco, Rachel, and Cassie. The result is kind of like looking at all of us at once, but in one body. It's really weird. Axe had almost gotten used to having a mouth when he was in his human morph. Almost. He still had a tendency to want to play with sounds, repeating them. Plus, the boy was a danger when he got around food. The sense of taste was just overwhelming for him. Same, Axe. Same. Axe, now that you mention it, Axe, now that you mention it, Marco started gyrating wildly, like a guy out of control. I only have 2 legs. I'm falling. See, I knew it must happen sometimes, Axe said, adding, happen, pun. I wasn't sure if Axe knew Marco was being funny or not. Axe might have a very dry sense of humor, or he might have no sense of humor at all. I hadn't figured that out yet. There's the place, I said. It was up ahead at the end of the block. It was a residential neighborhood with older houses and a few kind of low-budget shops mixed in. Thrift shops and car parts places and small restaurants. Our target was a single-story whitewashed building. There was only one door, and the windows were high up, narrow and long. They were blocked off so that no one could see inside. There was a small parking lot with a dozen cars in it. Over the door was a sign: The Sharing, Building a Better Life. Yeah, right, Marco sneered. A better life for some slugs from outer space. You notice the guy standing by the door? He looks like he's ready for trouble. A very large man stood by the door, muscular arms folded over his chest. But we'd expected that. Marco and Rachel and I had scoped the place out ahead of time. Okay, we cut down this alley, I said. That building down there is abandoned. The basement is empty and unlocked. That's where we morph. The basement was dark and depressing and smelled of mildew. I guess it used to be part of a restaurant. There were still some old tables strewn around. There were also a lot of old beer bottles and bits of garbage. Wonderful, Rachel said in a whisper. This whole Animorph lifestyle is so glamorous. Tobias fluttered in through the open door. Then we heard a thump. Ow! Man, who put that pillar there? Banged my right wing. Great. This is the guy who's supposed to be looking out for us tonight, Marco grumbled. Axe had instantly begun to morph back into his Andalite body. It is not possible to go straight from one morph to another. Just like we have to return to human form between morphs, he had to resume his Andalite form. Come on, let's do this and get it over with, Rachel said. Come on, let's do this and get it over with. I'm going to be a roach in a filthy basement. My mother would be so proud if she knew. Wait, Cassie said. We all agree on how this works, right? We're not looking for a fight. This is a spy mission. No one do anything dramatic, like morph into an elephant and go on a stomping spree? Cassie was looking at Rachel. Rachel has an elephant morph. Rachel is very fond of it. Rachel laughed. Absolutely. Spy time. Stealth is my middle name. Okay. I was a little embarrassed that Cassie had brought it up. What she was doing was trying to remind everyone that Tom was one of the controllers in the meeting, trying to remind everyone that we were just there for information. Let's morph already, Rachel said. Come on, I'll miss the movie. 5 little roaches. We'll be right at home in this dump, Marco said as he began the transformation. You will keep the rats from eating us, won't you, Tobias? Hey, I may not see that well in the dark, but I can still catch a rat, light or no light. I am the rat killer of the universe. Axe, you ready? Yes, Prince Jake. I am fully Andalite and ready to become your roach. A few moments later, we were 5 cockroaches amid the scattered garbage on the bare concrete floor. Wow, that is one big beer can, Marco said. A blue and white can towered over us, curving away into the sky. Let's, scurry, I said. Axe, you keep track of the time? We took off, a little knot of fast-moving roaches, all running in the same direction. You know, if it wasn't so gross, it would be kind of cool, Rachel said. Stairs! All right, a little vertical rock climbing. Tiny pincers on the end of my 6 legs grabbed the small protrusions of concrete and wedged into invisible cracks. It all happened so fast and so automatically that I could run straight up the cement step, almost as fast as I could move horizontally. Up the riser, over the edge, zoom, to the next riser, up, over, across, to the top of the 4 stairs. You know, you guys still give me the willies, Tobias said. You should see yourselves. The urge to step on you is pretty strong. If I had shoes. I never did like roaches. This from a guy who disembowels live mice for lunch, Marco said. Don't knock it if you haven't tried it, Tobias shot back. In some corner of my mind, I noted the fact that Tobias seemed more and more at peace with his weird life, half bird, half human. But mostly, my mind was on the job at hand. We had reached the threshold. We scampered across it and out into the alley. The alley was a mix of gravel and cracked gravel and cracked, torn up blacktop, which I assume is American for asphalt. The blacktop was like running across hard oatmeal, all bumpy and uneven. The gravel was more difficult. The pieces of rock were as big as we were, and even with our 6 clever legs, there was a lot of stumbling and slipping. I'm going airborne, Tobias said. You're out on the sidewalk. Turn left. There's better light out here, so I'll be able to watch you from the top of the telephone pole. Okay, we'd better spread out. Don't forget, these are controllers, Yerks. They believe there's a group of Andalite warriors running around on the loose. In other words, they'll be on the lookout. They'll be on the lookout for morphs. So act like normal roaches. You mean I should just crawl inside an open box of cereal? Marco asked. I had that happen once. I almost ate the bug. Yuck. We fanned out, staying several inches apart as we moved toward the building. I stopped when I reached the whitewashed cinder block of the exterior wall. Crack, Cassie called. I found a big crack here. I'm going in. The rest of us waited. I felt obvious, just sitting there, obvious and helpless. The big guy at the door could decide to step on me. I couldn't see him, but I knew he was there. This is good, Cassie said from deep in the wall. I think we can follow it all the way inside. One by one, we scurried to her location. I felt better when I was inside the crack. Until I thought about what would happen if I tried to demorph in such a tight spot. I didn't even want to start thinking about that. We're going in, Tobias, I called to him. Get somewhere safe. I'm cool, he said. Good luck. We were traveling single file, sideways, along the crack. It was like exploring a cave. There was no light, but my antennae felt the way, picking up the scent of the others, reading the tiny air currents, sniffing for familiar aromas. Then I saw a faint light that grew brighter as I advanced. Cassie was in the lead. It worked. It goes all the way through. I'm inside. I sidled up beside her. I could see through the crack opening now. I could see brilliant light, and I could feel vibration. The vibration of sound, of speech. I concentrated. It was impossible to tell much about the voice, who it was. It seemed too high to be someone old. Was it Tom? I listened to the words. Days here at Leah. Sorry. That's how your cockroach brain hears me speak. The day is here at last. It is time to strike the decisive blow in the invasion of Earth. Chapter 8. What is this, a Yerk pep rally? Marco wondered. Cassie started giggling. Well, thought speak giggling. And pretty soon, all of us, except Axe, were laughing silently. It was very nervous laughter. We need to get out of this crack, I said. Spread out a little. We look too obvious just sitting here, and we should try to see if we can identify some of these people. Move out. But wait, not all at once. Too late. We were all scampering down the wall from the crack to the floor. To anyone watching, it would have looked like the invasion of the roaches. 5 roaches moving all together is an easy thing to notice. But I had forgotten one thing. Humans hate roaches. A human will spot a roach very quickly, but Yerks couldn't care less. Even though these were all human controllers, they were with their fellow Yerks now. They didn't have to keep up their human act. No one stomped us, although I waited for a big shoe to drop from the sky. We separated a little, then headed along the edge of the wall, where the bare concrete floor met painted cinder block walls. Hey guys, can you hear me? It's Tobias. Just barely, but I can still understand you. I called back. Thought, thought speak gets weaker over distances, same as regular speech, although walls and so on aren't a problem. There's a there's a car pulling up outside here, a limo, and there are two other cars with it, full of very tough-looking dudes. What are they doing? Getting out now, like six guys. They have guns. I can see them under their coats. Now there's a guy. Sorry. Now there's a guy getting out of the back of the limo. Who is it? Or should I say, what is it? He's a human. Sorry. He's a human. He staggered a little, walking toward the door. He looks like a normal guy, but all the others are acting very nervous, and I know this sounds dumb, but I get a bad feeling from this guy. Now I could hear the vibrations of many feet walking fast. They're coming our way now, Tobias. Thanks for the warning. I tried to use my eyes, but they were hopeless at any kind of distance. All I could tell was that several men had arrived and were marching through the room. My brothers in arms, some loud, booming voice said, I present to you our leader, Visser 3. There was a gasp from the group. There was a silent gasp from us, too. Visser 3? Visser 3 had an Andalite body. He was the only Yerk ever to obtain an Andalite body, with all its morphing power. But surely Tobias would have noticed seeing an Andalite getting out of a car. I see that some of you are surprised, a new voice said. Oh. I see that some of you are surprised, a new voice said. Surely you must know that I can morph a human as well as any other body. Oh man, Marco said. Visser 3 can morph a human? Certainly, Axe said, just as I do. Certainly, just as I do. Humans are animals too, after all. You have DNA. The voice we now knew as Visser 3 spoke in a hard, curt tone. It was odd hearing his words. We had only ever heard him through thought speak before. Now he had a voice, and, if we could only see it, a human body. But he was too far away for our weak and distorted roach vision. This mission has two parts. 1. We will use the front hospital to take involuntary hosts. I expect to be able to make 200 new controllers per Earth month. We will concentrate on We will concentrate on making controllers of police, broadcasters, writers, teachers, people in finance, and especially anyone in a position of political power. There was a murmur of excitement from the assembled crowd. Just what we were afraid of, I said. Unfortunately, Marco agreed. Man, 200 new controllers a month? You have done well recruiting human doctors and nurses so that we now control the hospital facility. But this brings me to the second part of the mission, Visser 3 said. Until now, the secret was known only to me and a very small group. The room was almost totally silent, listening, anticipating. The second part of my plan is even more important than the first. In a few days, the governor of this state will have some minor surgery performed. His secretary is one of us, and she has steered him to our facility. He will check in for the minor surgery. He will check out, belonging to us. No, Rachel gasped. What does it mean? What is a governor? Is this some sort of prince? Axe asked. Yeah, I said. A prince. Sorry. Yeah, I said. A prince. The governor controls the state police and the National Guard and the schools. It's worse than that, Rachel said grimly. Don't you guys ever pay attention to politics? What are you talking about? Don't you know? Don't you know? Our governor is getting ready to run for president next year. A year from now, there could be a controller in the White House. A White House? What does all this mean? Axe asked. It it means that one of them could be the most powerful man in the most powerful nation on earth, I said. And that would be the ball game, Marco said. Then all would be lost? Yeah, Axe, all would be lost. And somehow it all turned out worse than that after all. Oh, incredible. Life imitating fiction. Chapter 9. Let's bail. We've learned all we need to know, I said. Back to the crack? Cassie asked. Yeah, we know the way. I turned and headed back to the crack. It was only a foot or so away. In a few seconds, we would all be safe. I could not believe what I had heard. It was insane. If the Yerk succeeded, we were toast, pure and simple. As long as it was a secretive war between us and the Yerks, who did not want to be discovered, we could maybe stay alive. But if all the power of the state sorry, if all the power of the state police were turned against us too, the situation would be out of suddenly a strange vibration in the air above me. Danger! Run! Whomp! It was like someone had dropped an entire three-bedroom house an inch in front of me. The impact was awesome. Sorry. The impact was awesome. The wind it caused was like a small but intense hurricane. It whipped my antennae back. Someone almost stepped on me, I yelled to the others. Look out! Visser, forgive my interruption, but there are several small insects here. A general murmur from the crowd, then one voice saying, Don't worry, there are only cockroaches. They're everywhere on this planet. Fool, Visser 3 exploded. Fool, do you think Andalites cannot morph creatures so small? Someone killed this fool for me. Blam! Blam! I felt the world spinning around me. Someone had been shot. Was it Tom? Could it have been? A new rush of air overhead. I could see something monstrously huge falling toward me, speeding down, ready to crush me. I bolted. Whamp! Millimeters from my tail. Kill those insects! Visser 3 screamed. Everyone for himself, I yelled. Spread out, run, get into the cracks. Let the roach brains guide you. I took my own advice and relinquished control to the raw instincts and cunning of the tiny cockroach brain. Say what you will about roaches. They're gross, they're disgusting. But man, when it comes to staying alive, that primitive roach brain knew its business. Whamp! Whamp! Ah! Axe yelled. Axe, are you okay? Yes, barely. Huge feet, each the size of a Greyhound bus, stomped the ground, but each time the roach brain moved me in just the right way, at just the right speed. They missed me by so little that I could feel the leather and rubber scrape my sides and tail as they impacted around me. I made it to the corner of the wall and hugged in there as close as I could get. They're on me, Cassie screamed. I can't get away. Oh man, I don't want to die like this. Get to the wall. Get off the floor. I was blazing along at top speed as Shoes tried to kick into the corner, but all I needed was a tenth of an inch, and I could scrape past uninjured. So I have to decide what this sound is. A running shoe was being dragged along the corner straight toward me. The soft rubber melded perfectly into the space. It would crush me. I saw it coming, a black wall. The black a black locomotive rushing at me. I jumped. I landed on the shoe as it came near. Whoosh! I was flying through the air. I was flying through the air on a magic carpet made of canvas. The man kicked. I lost my grip and went flying through the air. I'm clear! I'm clear! Cassie called. I found another crack! I felt like I was going supersonic, like a jet tumbling out of control through the air. Wait, I had wings. Too late. Thwap! I hit the wall. It should have killed me. It would have killed me if I had been human. But I weighed less than an ounce. The impact was hard, but not enough to even hurt me. I fell to the floor. A tent of some sort. Gray, black, a newspaper. It was a crumpled piece of newspaper on the floor. I dove beneath it and froze. I looked up and saw that it was a photograph. I couldn't make sense of the photo, of course. It was just big black dots of ink. I could make out letters. Each was as big as my head. I am clear, Axe called. I am with Cassie. Good. That was two of them safe. Rachel? Marco? I'm on a guy's sock, Rachel reported. He doesn't know I'm here. Wait, we're outside. I'm going to drop off. Clear, clear, I'm outside. Marco? Yeah, Jake? Where are you? I'm in a place where I just really, really hope no one flushes. You're in a toilet? They have a bathroom. It seemed like a natural place for a roach. I'm chilling for a minute. Then I'm going to try Then I'm going to try for the hole in the wall where the pipe goes. How about you? I'm not so good. I'm under a newspaper, but they're still stomping all around. Sooner or later, they'll stomp here. I have to make a run for it. I'm going to try for the door. Once I get outside, they'll never find me in the dark. Good luck, man, Marco said. Yeah, you too, my friend. Then my antennae picked up a strange new scent. Sweet, oily, dangerous. Somehow, I sensed that. It hit me in a flash. Marco, they have bug spray. I blew out from under the paper. There's one. There's one. Vibrations of a dozen feet running after me, and in the air behind me, a vast fountain that seemed to be explode the thin air. I don't think that typo is in my brain this time. I think that's a real typo. Sorry, just checking. An upside-down fountain, like a rainfall that came from a single point and spread out to fill the air. A droplet landed on me, then another. I felt my legs stumble. The door, I could sense it, just ahead. A foot, a near miss. I was slowing down. I could feel my roach instincts becoming scrambled. I was poisoned. The nerve gas was beginning to work. My legs were tangling up. My antennae were waving frantically, unable to smell anything but the deadly rain of poison. That got him, a voice said. Don't crush him, Visser 3 yelled. That was our Dieffenbachia tree falling over and taking its pot and everything with it. That's fine, it can stay there for now. Don't crush him, Visser 3 yelled. He may demorph to save himself, and then we'll have ourselves an Andalite. I was starting to twitch. I couldn't breathe. And then... I was starting to twitch. I couldn't breathe. And then, faster by far than the feet that had chased me, some new shape swooped down. I tried to run, but I no longer could. 3 monstrous cables closed around me, and I was up, off the floor. Hang in there, Jake, Tobias said. It's me. Red-tailed airline welcomes you aboard, and I am hauling my feathered butt out of here. Chapter 10. Morph, Jake. Morph now. Tobias had set me down on the roof of a Boston Market restaurant. It was the closest safe place he could find. Pardon me. I was lying helpless on tar paper and gravel. My legs were twitching. My antennae waved insanely. I was twitching and jerking and losing all control over my roach body. But the human me understood what was going on. I was dying. I had watched roaches die from poisoning. I had stood over them and thought, huh, serves you right. Now it was me. Now it was my body that was failing. I was the one suffocating and jerking. Jake, you have to morph out of this. Do it. Concentrate. I knew he was right. It was the only way to stay alive, but it was so hard to focus when I was trapped inside a dying body. I tried to picture myself human. I tried to form a mental image of myself, but that picture was all mixed up with dolphins and birds and tigers and the dream. I was in it now as the delirium swept over me. In the dream. I was the tiger, moving with perfect silence, each muscle like liquid steel, every movement controlled, calculated. I could smell my prey. I could hear his clumsy human movements in the dark forest. He was slow. He was weak. He could not escape me. I would destroy him. I would bring down my prey. My prey, Tom. I saw him turn to look at me. I saw fear in his eyes. Fear of me. I settled back on my haunches, preparing for the final lunge, the killing lunge that would end with my teeth sinking into his neck, my jaws crushing his spine. He looked at me and held up his hands. No! I leapt. Uncoiling unbelievable power. I leapt, a huge, unstoppable hunter. I roared, a thunderous cry of triumph that could be heard for miles. And then I saw the tiger, saw myself, saw orange-striped fur and ruthless yellow eyes and saber teeth and claws that could rip open a buffalo, hurtling toward me. Tom had become the tiger, and I was his prey. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them again, I saw right above me fierce eyes staring down from just a few inches away. The eyes of a hawk. Are you okay? Tobias asked. I raised my hand to look at it. Fingers. 5 of them. I don't know. Am I okay? You seem to have all of your major limbs and so on, Tobias said. But it was a weird morph. You got poisoned pretty badly, I think. You seem to be unconscious while you morphed. I'm alive, I said, feeling a little surprised. But of course, the amount of poison that had almost killed me when I was a roach was nothing to me as a human. Where are we? On the roof of a fast food restaurant. You saved my butt, Tobias. No problem. No problem. I am your own personal Air Force, dude. Just call in the air support anytime you need it. I sat up. How are the others? Worried about you. I checked up on them while you were coming out of morph. They're scattered around, but okay. Everyone morphed back. Axe is already in human morph again. Cassie has him with her. I guess I should get down from here, I said. Yeah, Tobias agreed. So, Marco told me what you found out. This is major. Definitely major, I agreed. I stood up and began to look for a way to escape from the roof. I was too tired and rattled to morph again. Marco says Visser 3 was there, in a human morph. The guy who showed up in the limo, right? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, roach eyes are pretty lame. I can only go by what I heard. I saw him leave. I saw him leave right after I lifted you out of there, Tobias said. I stopped looking around for a ladder to the ground. Tobias was being too talkative, too persistent. Tobias, what is it? What are you trying to get around to telling me? When Visser 3 left, Tom was with him. My first reaction was relief. Visser 3 had ordered someone executed in that meeting. It had not been Tom. How did they look together, Visser 3 and Tom? Tom was the only one from that meeting who went with Visser 3, aside from his guards. Tom was acting sort of careful around Visser 3, but he also looked like he was pretty cocky around the guards. It's hard to say, Jake, but if I had to guess, I'd say Tom and Visser 3 are pretty tight. Yeah, I said. Yeah, I have a feeling maybe Tom is kind of responsible for a big part of this hospital plan. I shut up and thought for a second. What will Visser 3 do to Tom if this great plan is destroyed? Tobias said nothing. He knew the answer. Those who fail Visser 3 die. Chapter 3. Did I say chapter 3? What is wrong with me? Visser 3. Chapter 11. I saw the lane open up between Juan and Terry, a clear lane to the basket. Thunk, thunk, thunk. My right hand dribbled the ball. I stuck my left arm out, ready to ward off Juan if he came after me. I powered ahead. Sneakers squeaked on the polished wood floor of the gym. One of the guys on my team yelled, "Go, Jake!" Juan saw my move and came after me, but I was just a little too fast. Thunk, thunk, thunk. Stop. Pivot my back to Juan. Pivot my back to Juan. Lock onto the basket. Focus. Focus. I jumped and arced the ball toward the hoop. It hit the backboard. It hit the rim. It bounced away. No score. I fell back against Juan and Terry. The three of us ended up in a tango on the gym floor, arms and legs everywhere. The ball rolled out of bounds. No wonder you never made the team, Terry said, laughing as he helped pull me to my feet. I had tried out for the team, but I didn't make the cut. At the time, it had bothered me, mostly because Tom had been the big basketball hero when he was at our school. I wanted to live up to that. Now, I realized I didn't have time for after-school sports anyway, and playing during gym class was enough basketball. Yeah, well, I beat Juan with some of my excellent moves, and he is on the team, I said. I reached back to help pull Juan up. Although I can't figure out why they would want some guy who looks like he's made out of straws. I'm just saving my best stuff for the finals, Juan said. I don't want to waste my secret killer moves on you, Jake. And I don't want to waste my secret killer moves on you, Jake. And now you practically crushed my legs, you big ox. Man, you ought to be playing football. Good idea, I grinned at Juan. He's about 5'11" and weighs like 10 pounds. Let me practice my tackling on you. Just then, the coach whistled, which was the signal to hit the showers. Saved by the whistle, Juan, I said. You should have inherited some of Tom's moves, Terry said. That brother of yours has a jump shot. Man, man, Tom could have been in college. Sorry. Man, Tom could have been in college ball easy, at a good school, too, if he would have just stuck with it, Juan chimed in. That boy has the gift. They were right. Tom did have the gift, but he had dropped out of basketball. The Yerk who controlled him had other plans, I guess. I showered and got dressed for my next class. Mar- Can I pause to say it is incredible to me that this high school, probably not even a high school, probably like a middle school, has shower facilities? I showered and got dressed for my next class. Marco was waiting out in the hallway. He had gym next period. B-ball today? He asked. Cool. Sorry. Cool. I thought it was going to be more wrestling. I hate wrestling. Getting up close and personal with sweaty guys, not my idea of a good time. The ancient Greeks used to wrestle with no clothes, I pointed out. Just be glad this isn't ancient Greece. And no deodorant, Marco agreed. It's going to be next Tuesday. What's going to be next Tuesday? Marco looked over my shoulder and then, very casually, around the hallway to make sure no one was close enough to overhear. The governor. The governor. That's when he's going into the hospital. I'll. That's when he's going into hospital. I'll bet you $100 it's for hemorrhoids. He grinned. That's why it's kind of secret. No one is supposed to know. So how do you know? Well, we know from the meeting the other night that he's going, right? So all I had to do is find out what his schedule is going to be. Turns out it's no problem. I told them I was a reporter and they faxed me a copy. This middle school student has a fax machine? Sorry. Yeah, your secondary school in the Midlands had shower facilities and seems normal in American middle schools. I don't know, maybe it is normal. It seems mind-blowingly luxurious from my public school perspective. Marco pulled a folded piece of paper from his pocket and opened it for me to see. See, Saturday he gives a speech. See, Saturday he gives a speech. Sunday he goes on a TV interview show. Monday he gives another speech. Tuesday, oops. Suddenly on Tuesday he begins a 5-day vacation and they don't say where he's going. Why would they keep it a secret, I wonder? Oh, please. If it is hemorrhoids, a politician getting his hemorrhoids operated on, the jokes are just too easy. Letterman would be talking about it in his monologue. I smiled. Yeah, okay, good work. Tomorrow's Saturday, Marco said. Should we do it then? I guess the expression on my face showed how I felt. Marco cocked his head and looked sideways at me. You okay, man? You had a close call last night. I've been there, so I know it isn't easy to just get past it. No, I'm cool, I said. I gave him a push. Besides, since when are you all psyched to go? Marco had always been the most reluctant member of the group. You know since when, he said softly. I nodded. Marco was no longer reluctant to fight the Yerks. It had become a very personal battle for him. Yeah, sorry, I said. As far as the others are concerned, I'm still the same old Marco, he said. I don't want them thinking anything is different. I don't want them feeling sorry for me. Now, Marco, how is anyone ever going to feel sorry for you when you're so totally obnoxious? And I plan to stay that way. The bell rang, signaling the next class. Okay, I said. Tomorrow. We'll all need to think of some way to get inside that hospital, though. They'll really be on the lookout. Actually, Cassie already suggested something to me, Marco said. I rolled my eyes. Oh man. You know I like Cassie, but this is the girl. You know I like Cassie, but this is the girl who suggested we try an Animorph. Hmm. Marco started to head into the gym. I headed toward class. No ants, he said over his shoulder. I don't even want to know. Think dog poop. What? I demanded. But by then, he was through the door and gone. Okay. I think probably one last chapter tonight. My right eye has lots of fun colors happening in it. I don't know how else to describe it, but sometimes these regular sessions to practice my sight reading start out really well, and it seems like after half an hour or 40 minutes, it's don't know how to describe it. Like neon amoeba swimming through my field of vision, but only on one side. My left eye has no such problems. Yay, left eye. It's perfect. Chapter 12. Something nice, but for $15 or less, I said. My dad's birthday is in 2 months. My dad's birthday is in 2 months, so I have to spread my money pretty thin. It was after school. We had headed to the mall, me and Cassie and Rachel. My mom's birthday was coming up. I had about $15 to buy her something, and the last time I bought her a present, it hadn't turned out all that well. Who would ever have guessed that she wouldn't appreciate a classic Spider-Man #3 in almost mint condition? Okay, so I was a year younger then. Plus, I had asked Marco if he would help me find something. This time, I asked Cassie if she would help me shop. Which was almost as dumb, since Cassie isn't really into clothing and cute little stuff. So Cassie had asked Rachel to help. How about that store? I asked, pointing to one that had women's clothing. Yeah, right. Good choice, as long as you have at least $100 to spend, Rachel said. Okay, how about, Cassie began. Cassie, think about it. Ra- Rachel said, looking slightly perturbed by our stupidity. Sorry. Cassie, think about it, Rachel said, looking slightly perturbed by our stupidity. Look at the name of the store. You might as well scream fat middle-aged ladies. Jake, do you want to tell your mom you think she's fat? No, I shook my head vigorously. But then I thought it might be a trick question. I mean, I don't. Do I? Rachel rolled her eyes. No, you don't. Duh. How, have you two ever shopped for anything before? I feel like I'm dealing with Axe here. I mean, are you two from this planet? We're looking for something on sale. Something that says, Mom, I still think of you as being young and cool. Something classic, understated. Most likely, we're talking a department store. She pointed. That department store. Second floor, toward the front, on the right. That's where we want to be. Look for sale signs. They'll be red with black letters. Cassie grinned at me. See? Rachel owns this mall. Shopping and kicking butt. Rachel's specialties, I said affectionately. We cruised the department store, and in about 10 minutes, Rachel had found a silk blouse. It was $33 originally, Rachel crowed. 33, marked down to 25, then a 30% discount for this one-day sale. Then a 30% discount for this one-day sale, and we got it for $17.50. Do you realize that's almost half off the original price? $17.50 for that blouse. Yes, She shops, she scores. Yeah, but I was only going to spend 15, I said meekly. You didn't spend too much. Don't you know anything? You saved $15.50. You came out you came out ahead by more than 15 bucks. Wait a minute. How did I save if I spent? Cassie put her hand on my arm. No, don't ask. Ra- no, don't ask. Rachel uses this whole twisted math involved in shopping. Don't ever try to understand it. Rachel ignored Cassie's teasing. Hey, while you pay, I have to go check. Sorry. Hey, while you pay, I have to go check something in Junior's. Meet you at the food court. Rachel peeled off, leaving me and Cassie alone in the racks of clothing. So, when are you going to tell me your idea? I asked. I thought Marco already told you. I shook my head. Nope. He just said, think dog poop, and I did. I got a very bad feeling as a result. Cassie looked a little pouty. Look, it was the only animal I could think of that could get in and out of a hospital. Sorry, that could get in and out of a hospital without getting stepped on or poisoned. We wouldn't even be seen, probably. I mean, they go everywhere. Who even notices them? Cassie, so far I have done 3 insects. Flea, that was okay. Ant, that was definitely not okay. And roach. I'm starting to feel jealous of Tobias. I mean, he's stuck as a hawk, but at least he doesn't have to go around turning into bugs. Do you have a better idea, Jake? Because do you have a better idea, Jake? Because I respect your feelings. I was just trying to help. It's just a suggestion. I drew a deep breath. No, I don't have any great suggestions. It's just whatever happened to the good old days when we would be tigers or wolves or something fun? I don't want to be a fly. I saw that movie, The Fly. Both versions. Both versions. The old one and the new one with Jeff Goldblum. I mean, a fly? A fly? The movie. I forgot that movie, Cassie said. She made a face. The The one where the guy has a tiny little human head stuck on a fly body and he's trapped in the spider web and he's going, help me, in this little tiny voice. And that guy is so grossed out, he just crushes him. We both just stood there, looking kind of sick. Moths? Cassie suggested. Too slow, I said, and too big. They would spot us. Okay, bees. No way. No social insects ever again. Bees could be as bad as ants that way. No social insects. No social insects. No hives. No colonies. I shuddered at the memory of the ant morph. It had been like dying. The ant had no individual self. It was just a part of a bigger machine. Flies aren't social, Cassie said. Can I help you? A saleswoman asked. No, Cassie said. Thanks anyway. We started walking, heading to the food court to hook up with Rachel. It would just be to get into the hospital, I said, thinking out loud. If they are using the hospital to transfer Yerks into house, it will mean they have some kind of a Yerk pool in there. That's what we're after. Find that Yerk pool, wipe it out. So we would just be in Flymore for a brief time, Cassie said. I mean, if we decided to do it, we'd have to demorph to do any damage. And then, if we create enough confusion, we can escape some other way. We wouldn't have to do flies again. True, Cassie agreed. We'd probably only be in the Flymore for a few minutes. Yep. So it's flies, Cassie said. Yep. Then both of us at the same time turned to each other and said, help me! Help me! Okay, I think I will leave the actual fly morph for next week then. I'm gonna check. I think that's about the halfway point. Yeah, close enough. Okay, thank you for listening and have a good night.